Our trip in Venice, Italy. This was my first trip to Venice, and I think the third for my Aunt Lisa. My aunt says that Venice isn't particularly famous for their food, but I certainly enjoyed some wonderful meals while there. Some of my favorites were the marzipan made in all kinds of shapes and colors, and the adorable bread faces. If I learned anything, I learned that Europeans love their Nutella, and therefore I love Europeans. Venice is filled with shops carrying multitudes of masks for Carnivale. They range from small and plain to immense and elaborate, such as this headdress shaped like the Basilica di San Marco, this exquisite gold mask, and this Dottore mask. The art in Venice is very abundant and beautiful, and I found these melting figures to be really interesting. The star of Venetian art is blown glass from the island of Murano, and it is sold everywhere. Unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of it, but believe me when I say everywhere, I mean it. From what I've been told, Italy has a very laid-back, relaxed culture, which is really displayed during their mezzogiorno, or the midday, which is a several-hour-long period of the day where shops temporarily close down and people nap, eat, and get ready for the evening. This was very different from what I was used to, and it was weird how most of the people seemed to magically disappear around midday. This is a great time for tourists to get some excellent pictures of the city, and that's exactly what we did. Venice is such a beautiful city that you don't really have to plan many things to do. Simply walking its streets and exploring its shops is more than interesting enough. Many of the windowsills and patios are covered in flowers and mini gardens. It gives the city a gorgeous, homey, welcome feeling. It's a very tourist-friendly city. Though there are many streets and alleyways, lots of which are extremely narrow, many of them are signed with directional arrows pointing to the most popular piazzas and tourist destinations, so it's always easy to tell which direction you're heading in. We passed an American couple bargaining for a gondola ride, and we asked what the gondoliers were trying to charge them. My aunt noticed that the lady was wearing an Arizona State visor, which is coincidentally where my aunt studied. We managed to get a cheap group deal from a gondolier, and I know it seems cheesy and touristy, but it's awesome and well worth it. Our gondolier was very nice and informative. One thing I love about the city is it's filled with cute little bridges that make you feel like you've gotten somewhat of a workout after walking over enough of them. And if you were to indulge in enough gelati as I did, you'd be grateful for it. However, I was a little concerned for those with handicaps as the bridges are all stepped. The watery streets are lined with garages for gondolas, and occasionally you'll see a hotel or a restaurant entrance on the water. Many of the buildings are braced together because they are so impressively old. My aunt says they look a lot like staples holding the building together, and she's exactly right, which is a little scary to me. After our gondola ride, we crossed the majestic Rialto Bridge and stopped for lunch at a riverside restaurant. I made friends with a bird who I think only liked me for my bread. What a jerk! There are so many gorgeous buildings in Venice. Everyone's favorite, I'm sure, is the Basilica di San Marco. I've done a decent amount of traveling and seen a number of majestic buildings, but I think that this one is only second to the Colonna Dome, or the Cologne Cathedral, and the Basilica di San Pietro, or St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. This basilica has a dress code that is explained on a sign in front of the entrance. The picture of what not to wear was almost exactly what I was wearing. I didn't feel like changing because the summer weather in Italy is murderous and we didn't have that much time. So, unfortunately, we didn't see the interior of the basilica. Now I'm going to show you exactly how much of a nerd I am. Literally the entire time I was in Venice, I could not stop thinking about how perfectly the city was portrayed in Assassin's Creed 2. The creators of that game and the artists who meticulously recreated every detail are gods. I hated to leave Venice, but we had to get to the airport and try to recover my luggage that was lost since I left DFW Airport, which, by the way, I still don't have. Thankfully, this tapestry I purchased in Venice made it home with me, and now I can always see Bella Venezia hanging on my wall. Next stop, Germany.